Hello everyone, welcome back to RCH Builders. Here we are again, made it back down here. As far as from the last time goes, if we kind of ran out of studs for the walls. But this week I finished up 2 jobs that we were working on. One real small, the other one a little bit bigger. But anyways, with finishing it up, I had just a few supplies left over. It's a little bit of insulation I stuck back here because all that is, this whole room is dry. Nothing is leaking on here. The only spot that gets wet is right along this wall, and it's actually from over here, it just runs along it. So over there is nice and dry. I put the leftover materials over there. It was some insulation, a little bit of sheetrock mud, and a small amount of sheetrock. It was only one full sheet and then some pieces. And then I picked up 30 10-foot 2x4s. So that should be enough for today at least, if not completely. We'll see how that goes. It's almost time to, I have another tripod, but I do like this one. But this one is now starting to fall apart on me a lot. So it might be about time to switch. Anyways, but, so, because I also have a couple, just a few, maybe like 3 2x4s left over from before. And then we also have all of these right here from where that temporary wall was put in. So if you're doing framing inside a home, as long as it's non-structural, it is very, very simple. As far as you just figure out where you want to put the wall and put it in. Now, some of these walls here are going to become structural when I am finished with it. Basically what I mean is I'm intending on putting possibly, and I'm not sure because it'll depend on exactly where the bracing from this goes up to the roof, it'll probably be just fine. But if not, I might do across from this T-post here to the T-post on this wall that will be going here. But either way, that wall, if you want it to be structural, you need to make sure that the wall is going to land on a joist. Depending on how much of a load, you're going to want to make sure it lands on a double. This would be just like a secondary load. It wouldn't even really be much. I mean, essentially, if I do put any bracing up right there, it's only going to be supporting about 5 foot of the roof line, if that even. So it's like barely going to be holding anything. But this over here will be the main load bearing wall. It's the one that I put in for a way back. This one, if you go back and watch the videos, there is a double joist underneath that wall, which is the reason why I've decided not to move this wall, because again, for 4 inches, it's not worth it. I would have to move or add another double underneath. Adding a double joist underneath after the floor and everything is in is difficult. It is possible to do. I have done it, but it's definitely not worth it just to add 4 inches to these rooms. So I'm not going to do it for that reason. If you are trying to reframe or you're having to reframe a messed up wall that is load bearing, what you're going to need to do is, again, if you go back and you watch towards the beginning of the series, you'll see what we did there, where we built a wall, a temporary wall. Basically, it's exactly like what is done there over there. And depending, I mean, you can use a 2x4 on the top if you want to. I just didn't. But it is generally going to be good to make sure you do at least one underneath, straight on, especially if you're trying to protect like your sheetrock. In here, of course, we tore everything out, so it's not a big deal. I'm not worried about hurting anything. You're trying to protect your sheetrock or plaster or your flooring or whatever, you definitely want to put a top plate and a bottom plate on. You don't need to double it. You want to make sure each one of these studs goes directly underneath the ceiling joist, directly underneath. And you want to make sure that where you put it, that you leave yourself enough room to work on this wall. Usually what a general rule is, you're going to want to put it like at least about 2 foot back, but you also need to make sure that you know which way the floor joists are going. For instance, if the floor joists are going this same direction as this load-bearing wall, you're going to want to make sure that when you put that temporary wall 2 feet back, and you need to do the same thing on this side. Both sides need to be supported. Because essentially what you're doing is, if you look up here, these rafters, these ceiling joists, one sits on, and this one comes this way and sits on. So you need to support this ceiling joist and that ceiling joist over there. So that's why you're going to have to do one on both sides of it at 2 foot back. But anyways, the floor joist, you need to make sure that if they're going this direction, that you adjust that wall to land it dead on a floor joist. Otherwise, you're going to be supporting all that load with just the subfloor and flooring, which is probably not going to be strong enough to support your wall while you're working on it. Your ceiling while you're working on the wall. So anyways, that being the case, like I say, you want to make sure it lands on the joist. If the floor joists are going this direction, like across this way, which is generally going to be the way they build newer homes as opposed to these ones now, these old ones. But if it's going this way, then essentially you can put that wall anywhere, as long as there's not a big sag in the floor and but it would be preferable to have it as close to a drop beam as possible, or something. But anyways, that's what you're going to need to do. And then depending on what your extent is, what I would do is I would replace one stud at a time. Pull one out, replace it. It's supported. If you have to take out a bigger section, you can. But depending on what you're doing, it's just as simple to replace one at a time anyway. And again, same thing as I was saying when I did both this wall way back and when I was doing this wall here. Don't measure and cut. Cut them all the same, usually starting from an exterior wall, because usually at an exterior wall, whatever measurement you have for what your stud should be is going to be the accurate measurement of what it's supposed to be. And then work your way across, and that will pick the ceiling back up where it's supposed to be. Because 9 out of 10, if you've got termite damage or rot, that ceiling is going to have dropped. Or if it is simply the ceiling weight, the roof weight is in the wrong spot, which is what has happened here. So, of course, we picked all this up a good bit, but then still right here, this sags extremely. You can actually see it really good on this side, inside the bedroom. If you look at it, you can look at that top plate and you'll see how you can see the whole 1.5 inches here. You can see it over there where it's sitting on top of that one. Right here in the middle, that very top plate, you can only see about 1/2 inch to 5/8 of it. And it's right where, you notice it's right where that wall is, up top, that's supporting the roof. So it's just pushed all those 2x6s down almost 3/4 to an inch. Between 3/4 of an inch to an inch, they're all sagging that much. And we'll be worrying about remedying that as we do the rest, or at least somewhat. It's not a big deal. It's especially now because they're not even spanning as far as they were. But I will probably be doing something that will at least remedy that somewhat. So that's just a little bit of lesson on how to replace a load-bearing wall. I know that I have a viewer who is talking about needing to reframe some load-bearing walls, which can be difficult to do, but the main part of it that makes it difficult is making sure that your ceiling is supported on both sides, because essentially, especially if you do like I did and you go ahead and you cut all of these temporary ones the length that they should be, you're going to have taken the weight off this wall already, which will make it very easy to replace. That's essentially what we did. We actually purposely, in this case, if you go back and you watch that video, we purposely cut all of these about, I think it was, I don't know, maybe a ½ inch longer than they're supposed to be. So we picked up the wall, the ceiling, even more than it's supposed to be, so that then we could set it down on top of this as we went across. And then basically as I came this way, I removed the studs as I put one in here. So as it came across, it slowly set down on top. You can watch those videos, of course. I videoed the entire thing. But otherwise, framing wise, is very simple. You want to go 60 center. When you have a double top plate, you do not have to have the ceiling joist sit directly on top of the stud. It's preferable if I'm framing this from scratch. That's the way I will do it. But these old ceiling joists are not quite 60 on center, and I want to make sure these are 60 on center for both the purposes of strength and the purpose of hanging sheetrock much easier. So, anyways, that was a little bit lengthy. Hope that y'all at least liked it. I was mainly doing it for the viewer who is wanting to know about framing a load-bearing wall. Anyways, now we'll get down to what we were planning on doing today, which is framing some more walls. I believe the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and I'm going to move this wall real quick. I say real quick, it's probably not going to be super quick because I nailed it in good. But I do want to move that because I don't want to make this hallway any narrower than it needs to be. And I want to make sure that the room that is right here for the laundry isn't so tight that it's a pain in the butt for people to get a washing machine or dryer in. So anyways, that's the first thing I'm going to do is get that moved. All right, so there's that wall. The 2x6 wall was a pain in the butt to move. The bottom wasn't too bad. It was a little difficult trying to knock it over, but the top, I definitely had to cut that because the top was that ceiling joist just bounced way too much. So every time I hit it, it just the flex in the ceiling joist just took out all the blow that was given. So it was not doing anything when I hit it, basically. But anyways, I got it over where I wanted it. We've got this wall done, so that'll be the door going into that bathroom there. The master bathroom is what it will be, basically. Essentially, this will be the master bedroom with their own private bathroom. And then this right here will be the laundry room. Of course, I still got to build this wall across through here, but I think what I'm going to do, I want to put that wall in so I can take all of these out, and then I can reuse these. I'll be able to cut those down instead of wasting them and use them to build the wall across in there for the other side of the hallway. So that's the reason I want to jump over here next, is so I can reuse these and keep as many new 2x4s as possible being new. First thing I got to do is move all of this stuff out of my way, and then we'll see what we can do about getting this next wall in place and framed. I don't know if when I do it, if it's going to land where this old one used to be. If I have to, I'll just replace the ceiling joists that are going from this wall to where this is. If that wall is going to go here, that's not going to be a big deal. I will just replace the ceiling joist there anyway. They're not going to be long. I think it's I think it'll be like 5 or 6 feet, so I could buy 10 footers and cut them in half, something like that, or 12s. So working in little houses like this, sometimes the most difficult thing is finding room to work to begin with and to store all your material. So this 16-foot material, as you see, it goes through 2 rooms just to be stored. But anyways, now I'm going to see what I can do. I believe when I did some rough measurements, it shows this wall kind of right where this stud is, but I'm going to move it back this way so that it will land on this stud joist right here. So I'm going to move it back about 4 inches or so, which is perfectly fine because this wall is back that way 4 inches as well. So the closet's still going to be the same size, essentially. It's just going to be moved back just like the other, and it'll make for a little bit bigger kitchen / dining room. So anyways, so pretty much that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put it right on this joist here. All right, so there's another wall done. That one is basically going to be a master closet here, and then a walk-in master closet. It'll be about 6 foot by 5, I believe, something around there. And then this will be a walk-in pantry, about 5.5 feet by 5 feet, I believe, somewhere around there. Anyways, did actually get a good bit done. Moved, of course, that 6-inch wall and built that wall there across the bathroom and the laundry room end. So essentially, we're actually getting really close to being done with the walls in here, in this main part here. Basically got one wall that will go from here all the way to the end. And of course, that wall that will go right there. So not much, and the modifications that will need to be done to this wall here, one for a door down there, and then the other being opening the hallway up. Yeah, we're actually getting pretty good, having a lot of the framing done as far as the walls go, and then we can start working on the roof. Should be able to, especially with these other walls here. I don't know. I would like to jack the roof up, but if I don't have time to jack the roof up, I want to at least get tar paper on this back side to help protect the walls that we've done. And then we can always jack it up. The nail pops that might happen for the tar paper can easily be driven down before doing the shingles. But the nails, what they call roofing caps, they're actually ring shanked, so the chances of them popping up are a whole lot less than regular roofing nails, which have no grooves on them. They are smooth shanked pretty much, other than they have like a rib, but the rib is at the very top, which is where the shingle is, so it's not going to help keep it from pulling out of the wood. And the shingle is hot melting tar in the sun, so why they put the ridge there, I have no clue. It does absolutely nothing. But it's probably just a part of manufacturing as far as getting the form around the metal to melt, if anything. It's probably not even supposed to be functional. But anyways, I like it. We got a whole bunch of stuff cleaned up, all this mess rearranged to where you can actually get into every room still while having the stuff here. I believe, let me see, I brought down 30 2x4s, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, so I got 16 left. I might want to bring a few with me next time, just to make sure I have enough for this long wall. I think I will have enough, but it depends because of like headers and stuff like that. So I might bring down another, half a dozen or so, or I'll probably bring a dozen just to make sure I have enough, and then I can always take them back or use them with the addition section we're planning on doing. So we are doing a little bit of an addition here. It's not really a full-on addition. It's enclosing part of the front porch. So for that, I'll need more 2x4s, but I plan on doing that after I get the roof situated and fixed, at least mostly. Because once this all in here is done, I can get this in the dry. The front porch leaks like a sieve right now anyways, so I'm not trying to salvage anything right there, really. I'm gonna have to tear it completely down and to rebuild, essentially. But not quite, you'll see, of course, how we do it. But anyways, as far as this video goes, this is going to be it. Hope you've enjoyed watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you the next time.